Hello, everybody, and good morning. Welcome back to Tea Time at 10 with Teacher Pete and Larissa. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully good. I just want to make a quick shout out to the wonderful families who are a part of the SKC Facebook group. I just want to let you guys know that we are seeing the commenting and the posting that you guys are doing. And we also just want to make you aware that it just warms our hearts to see the beautiful pictures of your children. Somebody posted a picture of their children at the beach. Another parent posted their picture doing the bug activity, and oh my God, it just melted my heart, you guys. It was probably the best feeling ever to see your kiddos engaged and having fun, and it just means the world to us. So just know that you guys are wonderful. You guys are wonderful parents. Your children are wonderful, and we just truly appreciate your engagement through this whole experience. You guys are just fabulous. But yeah, I wanted to just make that announcement and let you guys know how much we appreciate you. Do you have anything you want to touch on that, Larissa? I know you were really happy too.
I was. It was the greatest thing. I literally was beaming sitting here looking at the photos. And so we're looking forward to more. This has been a really big project, so it is very rewarding, honestly, to see the families engaging in this program, and so it makes it all worthwhile and so much fun. So keep them coming.
Absolutely. And so I guess we will dive in, and today's tea time topic is physical activity. And I did gather my sources from the American Psychological Association, as well as AAPA, which is the American Academy of Pediatrics, and a little bit of information from the CDC website as well. And Larissa will be attaching those links to the bottom of this post in case any of you guys would like to read more in depth and educate your guys' selves a little bit more on those topics. The articles can be a little lengthy, but there's a lot of really great information there, a lot of facts, and they have little tip sheets in PDF form for parents, which I thought was really excellent in case you guys wanted to print something out for physical activity just as like a worksheet throughout the week. So there's little engagements on those websites as well, and they're just loaded with great information. You could easily dive into a deep hole of knowledge. So let's just dive in. So today we're going to be talking about physical activity, like I said, why it's important, and what your children are learning through physical activity, especially now with it being such a hot button topic because of COVID, and it's harder to go out and do things as a family, and it's harder for your children to go out and do things, with ratios being low, and for a while parks were closed and have just started to reopen, and things are getting ready to close again. So we just thought it would be a really important topic for us to discuss. So the American Psychological Association, I'm just going to abbreviate it as APA because it's less of a mouthful. They break the importance of physical activity down into 4 to 5 different topics. The first one being mental. So your children's mental health is impacted through physical activity. So as you may have heard as adults, physical activity releases endorphins into our brains, and it decreases feelings of anxiety and depression in us, just as it does in your children. And it also decreases the likelihood of obesity. So being physically active is really important for not just your body, but for your mind as well. And if we all, all of us are different, but sitting for long periods of time, it can be harder to concentrate. So when we're physically active, it gets our bodies going, it gets our brains going, it kind of switches our gears so that when we come back to our classrooms, they're able to pay attention, focus, because they've got all their jitters out. And so mental health is also associated with higher levels of positive self-image, life satisfaction, and psychological well-being. And so in children, obviously, we want them to be happy, we want them to be healthy, and it's important for them to continue to stay active, especially during the COVID. And we're going to talk at the end of this on how you guys can stay active even without all of the wonderful resources that we may have access to. There are definitely different things and strategies you guys can do in the home or even in, your backyard. But like I said, if you say perhaps don't have a yard to do activities in the home is just as good. And we'll give you a little bit of examples on how you guys can do that. Our behaviors improve. So children's behaviors, like I was telling you guys, improves with physical activity. They're able to self-regulate. So like I was telling you guys, they might be fidgeting. They might get rambunctious. Maybe they don't want to listen quite as well at home. But if they are given the opportunity to be physically active and burn all of that out, especially because children need more physical exercise than us adults. And the CDC recommends that children ages 2 to 5 get about 60 minutes a day of exercise. And for the younger ones around 2, it's suggested about 2 hours a day of exercise. But don't fret if you guys aren't able to offer your children a full 60 minutes of exercise just yet, because you guys can start small and gradually work your way up. But the CDC does recommend about 60 minutes a day of exercise to promote positive mental well-being and physical health as well. And not only does it affect and improve their behavior, but it reduces the likelihood of the less desired behaviors. And we like to say less desired because it's another form of maybe a tantrum or an acting out type of a behavior. So you may have to, if they're physically active, it might lead to fewer disciplinary actions that are taken. And like I'll say again, self-regulation. So that's the ability to calm ourselves, regulate ourselves, and focus, right? And attention and academics. So children have an easier time keeping focused, paying attention in the classroom after they are physically active. And this is important because as some of us might be shifting gears depending on the age of our children, school might be taught for some of our older children in the home. And so making sure that they have those opportunities to get up and take breaks and stretch their legs is really going to be crucial and important, because we're not going to have PE, if the schools are shut down. So that's something to be mindful of as well. And cognitive development. So this is our ability to think and reason. It's linked to better thinking skills, improvement in executive function, which executive function is a set of skills that are used for learning, for solving problems, and for self-control. So when we're physically active, we're learning with our bodies, and we're engaging not just with our minds, sitting, hearing, and thinking, we're also using our bodies to explore and learn. And so that kind of leads into a topic of why play is really important and is linked with physical activity, because children learn through a multitude of ways, and every child is different. So while one child might be a little bit more auditory, so they like to listen, or maybe they're more visual learners, some children are a little bit more tactile, and that requires more physical activity. And there's so much to be learned through physical play, because it requires that they solve problems. How am I gonna make it to the next monkey bar? How is there, that's science. I've got to propel myself forward and make it to the next bar, or in this case on the swing, or you know how, for example, a seesaw. Some parks have seesaws still, but that's a whole gravity, that's all gravity, and that's learning through physical play. But you're learning so much just by being physically active, because that if you sit on one end and nobody is at the other, it's just going to go like this, right? So how are they going to make it go down? Somebody heavy has to be on the other end. So it's so wonderful for learning a multitude of things. I want to pause and see if you have anything to add, Larissa. I'm kind of just going on a tangent over here.
Oh, you know what? I was just thinking, as you were talking about all of the benefits of children's physical activity in their lives, their mental health, and their improved cognitive abilities. This is a really basic one, but as a parent, or even just as adults, I think one of the things that we instinctually understand, and let me know if any of you have experienced this, if you have been out doing something really energetic, and what pops into my mind is back when my kids were small and we would go to the county fair and we would be there all day long, and then the minute you get in the car and you buckle them in, almost always our first responses were, wow, they're going to sleep good tonight, right? So we know that it improves sleep. So for all of those families out there that are having a struggle with their child and a bedtime routine, this is a very important factor in the equation for that.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad that you brought up routines, because it does tie to our last topic that we discussed, and that was routines. And so parents, if you watch that video and maybe you're struggling and trying to find a few methods to help with your routine making, that's definitely a factor to consider, is, are your children getting enough physical exertion throughout the day? Because it's important that we're not just mentally tired, but we're physically tired as well. And it's good for our bodies, it's good for our little ones, because like Larissa was saying, they will rest easier. And so just to recap, 60 minutes a day is the recommended for children ages 2 to 5. Any child younger, 2 or younger, probably more towards it says 2 hours a day. But like I said, if you're not quite there yet, and you're not able to do 60 minutes a day of physical exercise, don't fret. This is even on the website. You guys can do baby steps and make a family plan. So you guys can maybe create a plan of how you're going to be physically active together as a family. And if you're physically active with your children, the likelihood of them being physically active themselves, and this is true for when they're adults as well, you're creating those habits, and those are good habits to create. And as a result, they're likely to continue those habits when they're adults. So when you're ingraining learned behaviors like physical activity at a young age, the likelihood of them remaining a part of the child's life increases significantly. And we want our children to be happy and healthy adults. And forming these positive habits, these good habits that promote their physical and their mental well-being are definitely crucial. And it's why in the classroom we go outside and we have the bikes and the swings, and outdoor play is a huge part of our Head Start experience. And if you guys have had the opportunity, all of our facilities have different play structures and different equipment. And so all of our centers have wonderful opportunities for your children to learn and explore through physical play. And so a little tip too, and I have to throw this in here because I work so much with the younger population. And so I'm always educating my families. But it's really just good information to have, especially because we are going to be learning remotely as children get, as the COVID pandemic increases and our older children maybe have to stay at home and learn remotely. But for children who are 2 years and younger, it is recommended through the American Organization of Pediatrics that children 2 years and younger do not have any screen time whatsoever. That's zero amount. No minutes, no hours, no screen time whatsoever. And I get asked that question a lot by families. What is too much? What is just the right amount? And more and more studies are coming out. It used to be younger. It used to be younger that they said no screen time, but they're as further research comes out and there's more time to do those longitudinal studies to look at data over a long period of time. We're starting to see that there's different detrimental effects that it can have on our social emotional behaviors in our children. And as a result, they're saying children 2 years and younger should have no screen time. Well, as we all know, there's the kids YouTube, so there's cartoons, there's a lot of really educational things that are offered to our children. So I completely understand, and I'm not saying don't expose them, because you're their parent and you're going to know what's best for your child, and definitely do what you feel in your heart is the right thing to do. But a little suggestion that they have is, if you do have screen time, limit it to 30 minutes a day. So just do increments and set limits and boundaries on that. And that will also decrease the likelihood of tantrums. So a lot of tantrums that I've seen recently are caused by children not wanting to get off devices, whether it's the iPad or the phone or the TV. Those are tantrum triggers. And so by limiting and putting boundaries on that, and maybe creating that as part of your routine. And, we talked about maybe setting a timer as an auditory cue that, hey, okay, it's been 30 minutes, my time's up, I have to hand the iPad back to mom. That could help as well with the routine. But just so you know, it's a good fact to know. And with that being said, you guys can hopefully offer your children other ways of entertainment, and this is like family time. So Larissa and I were talking about what are some awesome ideas that we can tell parents how to stay physically active. And one of the things she said, and I love this so much, is a two-legged race. And I was like, I have not done those since like summer camp.
It doesn't require anything extra.
It doesn't.
Most families have something that you can tie safely and practice. And of course, you'll be mindful of the environment and make sure that you're not doing this around anything that is going to cause an injury if you fall, when you fall. That's part of the fun of it. You're going to fall. Just do it safely. Games like that are so much fun, and it brings us back together as a family, and deepens the bond with our children. And one of the things I think that I hear a lot of recently in this time of COVID is that people are spending so much time together, which is actually going to be a positive outcome. So I hear a lot of families saying, gosh, we've been laughing together so much. Wonderful. That's exactly what this game would be perfect for. If you want to laugh and you want to get some physical activity, yeah, a three-legged race is one. We're also going to be posting some other videos or links to other resources. I actually was looking at an email this morning that I'm going to try and clean up and put in the comment section that has even more outside games to play. And some of these games can be initiated, and as the adults, we can teach them to the children. We could play together as a group, again, strengthening that bond and enjoying each other. Or after the kids have learned the game, then the adults can take a step back, and if you have multiple children in your family, or if you have a pod of children that they interact with, then you can turn it over to them and let them be responsible for running the game themselves, and then they're learning even more social emotional skills by problem solving, which is what Paige was mentioning earlier. So yeah, look in the comments section.
I love that. And Larissa's gonna attach, like she was mentioning, there's a really cool video about kids yoga. And can you just imagine your little ones doing yoga? I think it's the cutest visual ever.
It's so much fun, and it's another activity that you can do with your children, or
Absolutely.
on their own, either way, or both.
Either way, yeah, either way, you know, as long as you they're being offered a multitude of experiences, and it's so great because, you know, maybe they'll try it, maybe they don't want to do it again, maybe they really love it. You just never know what will tickle their fancy, you know. And you know, there's this really fun game that I played a lot with the families that I worked with, and it's perfect for kindergarten readiness because what you guys can do is using construction paper or old newspaper, any paper that you have lying around the house. If you have your child maybe trace the shape of a bowl, so you create a circle and then supervise them cutting out the circle. You could draw a triangle and talk to your child about the shape of a triangle and how it has 3 points, and you can have your child cut that out. A square, a rectangle, a diamond shape. You guys can create a multitude of shapes, cut them out, place them on your floor. And for parents who are familiar with Twister, you can play a game of a shape Twister with your children. So you could say, okay, left foot on circle, and you know, your child is using their whole body to learn, because it's a physical exercise. Also teaching them about shapes and maybe patterns, because you guys can build on top of that and create patterns with the shapes. So circle, square, or diamond, square, triangle, diamond, square, triangle. So those are all kindergarten readiness skill sets, and they're super duper fun. Like I said, I would play them all the time with my families, and the kids really loved it. Like, can you hop on the diamond? Okay, hop on the diamond. Okay, now put your right hand on circle, and it just gets really comical.
You know, Paige, it just occurred to me that I could also even imagine an alphabet recognition Twister game where maybe families could just cut out shapes and write the letters of the alphabet.
Oh,
and
I
do that
love that.
and another kindergarten readiness skill.
Oh, that's excellent. That would be so much fun. And then you could ask them questions like, find the first letter of your name. What's the first letter of your name? What's it sound like?
Mhm.
Oh God.
Yeah, the options are endless.
Oh, they're so endless.
Yeah.
And it's hard because we'll go off on tangents because we'll just start throwing out ideas at you guys. So we apologize.
What's your favorite idea? I want.
Yeah, what is your favorite idea? Tell us how you guys are staying active. What have you guys done to stay busy or keep your children going? Definitely let us know because um, we love to learn and we love to see what you guys have been up to. And I'm sure you guys have a multitude of things that you guys do at home that we have no idea. We've never maybe heard of those activities. So definitely share.
For sure. I know I have grandchildren that learn to ride their bikes without training wheels during the time of COVID. So,
That's awesome. And like Larissa mentioned, play in general, it allows for your children to develop and strengthen their gross motor skills. So those are like our large muscle movements in our arms, in our legs, our backs, our stomachs, and then our fine motor movements, which are our smaller muscle groups. And it it also helps with their cognitive development, their thinking, their social emotional development, which Larissa mentioned, problem solving is so crucial because we want our children to be able to problem solve, especially on the playground.
mm,
Um, so your children are learning so much just through play and being active, just as much as they are in the classroom, because what they're doing is they're applying what they're learning in the classroom to real life. And that's how we learn. So we learn through listening, reading, watching, but we really learn by doing. And so they're practicing what they're learning, and that's strengthening their skill sets. Um, and play in general is just wonderful. I mean, who doesn't love to play?
I love it.
So that about wraps up. I'm just like reviewing my notes. And that's about it. I mean, playing, whether you're playing indoors or outdoors, it's going to be a wonderful sensory experience for your kids. Um, please share with us what you guys have been doing to keep busy. Continue with those pictures because you guys, those are just so beautiful to look at. They just brighten our days so much, and they let us know that you know this program is working for you guys and that you guys are enjoying it, and that brings us joy. So I just thank you guys so much, and definitely comment and post.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, so stay tuned and we'll see you guys next time. Look out for those links that Larissa is going to be posting,
Yes.
as well as some maybe links to a couple of videos of a couple different things that you guys can do to stay active, like the yoga example. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll see you next week on Monday for Tea Time at 10 again with another hot topic. Everybody have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.